Hey everybody, welcome back to Board and Savior. Today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new game from Jamie Stegmaier and Stonemaier Games, Vantage. Alright, first things first, this is a review copy from the publisher. That's not going to factor into my review in any way, but be aware of that. And second of all, this is going to be a slightly different review than the normal review that you're used to seeing here on Board and Savior. This is not a scripted review. Sadly, no stupid, goofy interstitial bits. Not because I'm never doing those again, but because this game, to me, feels like one that I just have a lot of thoughts on, and I just want to kind of talk them out with you. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings, and I want to not have to sit down and script it all out. I want to just kind of get it out. I don't know what I'm going to say. I have no idea. But yeah, this is not scripted. This is just going to be off the cuff. I have not decided on my score out of 10 yet. That will be something that we come to together. Also, I have only played Vantage solo so far. I think at some point I will play it with multiple people, but this to me really does feel like a game that is going to be not necessarily best suited for solo, but it is so perfect for solo play that I don't mind doing a review of it having only played it solo. I can imagine what it would be like with multiple people. I do think that as you add more and more people, it would be less and less fun. Let me start with a very brief explanation of what this game is. And keep in mind, this is a game where technically every single thing is a spoiler. So very light spoilers. I will note before I reveal anything. I'm not gonna do any big spoiler stuff. But this is an exploration game, and so every single one of these cards is a thing that you could discover blind, and there's an argument to be made that it's more exciting to just discover everything. But I'll keep spoilers very, very, very minimal, and I will note before I reveal anything big to you. How does this game work? You are a traveler passing by this planet on a spaceship, and your spaceship crash lands. You could crash land in quite a few different locations. You don't know where you're going to end up, and then you just have yourself a little adventure on this planet. Each of the adventures is a self-contained story. This is not a campaign. It is designed to be a one and done. Every single adventure is its own discrete experience, which is a very cool idea as someone who has 4 campaign board games that I'm in the middle of and will finish sometime in the next 10 years or never. It's nice to have a game that says, yeah, this is going to be a story-based game that you don't need to worry about coming back to and remembering where you were and all of that. But yeah, whole bunch of possible starting locations, there are 6 kind of main skill types in this game, which are listed out as you'll see on the front of this box. You can always refer to the box to know what types of skills you've got. You've got your move, you've got your look, you've got your engage, your help, your take, and your overpower. And all of those 6 skills are going to be kind of the way that you are interacting with the world around you. There will be something that you are best at the start of the game. This character right here, Tina the Marine, is best at the overpower type skills. But there are 5 other characters who are each best at one of the other types of skills. And you can either choose which character you want to be. So you could select, this game I want to be better at looking. This game I want to be better at moving. Or you could roll one of these skill dice and randomly assign whatever your character is going to be. I have exclusively played by randomizing so far, but I can very much see the enjoyment of you know what? The last 3 games I've been doing things that are a little bit more bad, fighting and taking things from people. This one I'm going to be a little bit more peaceful, whatever. I'm going to choose the character that lets me do that. Yeah, the course of the game itself is exceptionally simple. The rules learning process takes I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of rules, and then most of the rest of the stuff is explained on the cards that you are looking at. Like, once you know the core concepts, which is whenever you attempt to do something, you will be given a number and then the type of skill that you are doing. So like, you might be told that you're doing an overpower skill check with a difficulty of 4. And what that means is that you roll these 4 dice. You can spend, if you've collected any of these little tokens, you can spend these tokens to mitigate, to like remove a dice from that pool, as long as the skill token matches whatever type of skill you are attempting to do. And then you roll the dice, and then, wow, that is actually full insane. Let's look at what this is, and then I'll do an example roll where I don't roll the best possible thing. So these results are nothing bad happens at all. This is the perfect thing. Every die has 2 of this little minus result, and that means that you succeed without any penalty whatsoever. The other possible results are this little backtrack arrow. This is a setback, which means you stick this die right back up in that challenge dice pool. That's annoying for reasons that I will get into in just a second. And then the other 3 results on these dice correspond to the 3 symbols up here. These are your health, this is your time, and this is your morale. If any one of these markers reaches the 0 space, you will be prompted to end your game. The game will say, do you feel like you have had a solid attempt at succeeding? If so, your game ends. You can optionally say, no, you know what? I don't think I've had a fair shot at this. Like, I was super unlucky in like just having health run down to 0 early. And the game says, okay, no worries. Roll some dice and then regain however much of these markers as you've rolled on the dice. And the game very much encourages and like insists that the point of this is to have a good time. Yes, there is a rule in the game for like, you have lost the game, you have failed, you are dead. But right after that rule, it's like, but if that's not fun for you, don't worry about all that. You can also set your starting health, time, and morale to be any of these numbers. They suggest that like 3 to 6 is where to be. 3 is like hard, then 4 is like normal, 5 is easy, and 6 is like easiest possible. I just want to have a good time, party all day long. They recommend that you start at 4, but I might recommend that you start at 5 or even at 6 because the game is designed to be fun. In my first few, I found myself running down my markers really quickly, not knowing how to optimize things. And I don't know. This is going to be where I ramble for a second. I do think there's an argument to be made for listening to the game when it says you have died early on and like taking that as a lesson, but it feels a little bad to die like 50 minutes into your play when you're like, I haven't really like done anything yet. I haven't accomplished any of my tasks. So I don't know. There's a good like lessons to be learned argument to starting at 4 and seeing what things kill you in this world. But I don't know. You're also trying to have a good time. Your mileage may vary. Whatever you think sounds better in that is up to you. I think I would maybe just start at like 5. I would maybe start at 5. Okay, you roll these dice. Let's say this is your result. You put this guy back right up there. Then, what do you do with these last 2? Well, either you could stick them up here and take the penalty associated, which would be losing 1 time and 1 heart, because that is what the symbols are on these dice. Or you could slot them into your little tableau of cards that you will collect as you proceed through the game. To start with, you're just going to have your character card, but as you go and you discover things, you will add more to this little grid. You'll see that a full grid is a 3x3, 9 total cards, all surrounding your central character. what you can do with these dice is slot them into the slots on your board, assuming they match the things that you are trying to do. You have to listen to what the cards say. For example, this little time guy here could not be slotted into this heart symbol because they're different symbols. However, this heart could be slotted in right up there. You will also see over here in the top left corner of this card, it says that this is an overpower action. And so if you are doing an overpower check, then you can slot any dang die you want into that slot. And you'll see also that there is a little cube symbol next to it, which means if you slot something in here, you will collect a boost cube. Boost cubes are beneficial things that will allow you to re-roll dice or do some other thing that's good. Look in a book. It's a reading rainbow situation. Boost cubes are good. The different cards that you have will tell you what you can do with the boost cubes, and you can use the boost cubes based on the card that they are on. For example, like if I had another card right here that had boost cubes, I could not spend its cubes to do Tina card actions. I can only spend Tina's boost cubes to do Tina's actions. That just makes sense, right? And now you're seeing, okay, next time I roll, these slots are filled. Uh-oh, that's not good. So you just have to listen to whatever those dice say, which is why you want to collect cards around your character to build up the little engine of things that you can do, ways to mitigate the results. All of the characters do allow you to spend a boost cube to re-roll any of your challenge dice. And if you re-roll a time and it stays a time, then you get to collect a skill token because you got screwed over a little bit there. And that's the deal. Once this challenge pool of dice has all been nearly emptied, and you are prompted to make another skill check with dice more than the remaining dice in this pool up here. So like, let's say I was doing a move skill check, which had a challenge value of 3. I need 3 dice, but there's only 2. What happens then is I do a refresh. I would move every single die back from here and from all of my cards into the pool and then make the check of the 3 value move action. And now all of these slots are free once again. So as you're going through the game, you are trying to manage when you are filling up your slots, when you know that you're going to be able to like refresh them. You might take an action that seems like it's going to be more risky because you know, like, I've got 3 dice left. If this action is a 4 or higher challenge check, then I'm going to get to refresh everything and take everything off my card. So that's going to feel really good. So interesting little things. And like, truly, that's the game, is making these little challenge checks based on the cards that you are interacting with. So you know what? Let's spoil something here. You will start in one of, I believe it is 6 starting locations, which looks like this. And when you are here, you will roll 2 of these challenge dice to see where you crash land to. This is like you're in your escape pod, and then this determines where you crash land to. So I have rolled an orange and a yellow. That is card 739. So this, be aware, this is a spoiler. If you do not want to know anything, go away. So I'm going to find location 739 in this box, and that is right here. So this is what a location is going to look like. It is some beautiful artwork, and you should, every single time you go to a new location, take a moment to study the artwork, because in this game, the things that you are seeing, you can glean info about the skill checks that you can make based on what is in this location. So we're at location 739. We see this little island. There's a little description down here. The sounds of merriment can be heard from an overgrown island. And then on the right-hand side of this card, we have variations of the 6 central skills, which, as we know, are move, look, engage, help, take, and overpower. The variations here are sneak, prepare, boast, honor, extract, and raid, which is like a specific type of an overpower action. Raid is a specific version of overpower. Sneak is a specific version of move. And as you collect cards, you might learn that while I am good at the overpower action generally, you can specialize and you can be like, I am really good at raid overpower actions, or I am really good at attack overpower actions. And that is true for all of these little keywords that you can bump into. But you don't have to do the thing that you're good at. I crash landed 739. If I look at this and I go, you know what? I want to honor the people here. I am more than welcome to take the honor action regardless of my specific specialty. You just have to be aware that you're going to have fewer options to mitigate scary die results if you roll them, if they come up. Raid here would be the most the easiest thing for me to do, hypothetically, but maybe you don't want to start off raiding on this planet. Maybe that seems like it would be mean to you. I don't know. Could be. Whatever you choose to do, and let me say, you can do at most one of these 6 actions per location per game. You go to location 739 and you prepare. If you move away from 739 and come back, you've already prepared there. You can't do any of the other things unless otherwise specified. There are locations that are like, you can do as many of these actions as you want, or the sneak action is always available at this location, which means that you could raid and then sneak, whatever. But most of the time, you are limited to just one action per location per game. After you have taken one of these actions, if you do want to take one of these actions, the other things that you can do are you can take a depart action, which we'll look at this compass up in the right-hand corner. The depart action, if there is a numbered location on the compass rose, you can go directly to that location after making a simple 1 challenge rating skill check, move check. So you only have to roll 1 die if there is a number listed. If there is a star listed, then you will look up said location, 739, and you will say whether you're going north, east, or south from here. And then it would tell you, like, make a level 4 move check. It'll, depending on the location that you are moving to, the difficulty of the trek will specify what kind of check you have to make, how difficult that check will be. So, for example, you might come across, let me give an example that I haven't encountered yet. You might come across, like, a muddy terrain that you can see, like, going north, it's muddy. And so you're like, it might be more difficult to make that walk because of the mud. And so you'd say, okay, so can I afford to do like a 3 or 4 move action here? Yeah, I think I can. I'm going to go north from here. And then you look it up in the book, and the book says, like, yeah, you got to go north for it's a 4. And you roll the dice and you're like, oh, I lost a health, whatever. Let me also, this is what happens when I don't script it and I just talk out of my butt. I have not opened any of these books because there is a browser. It's a website. Where's my phone? Where is it? A browser site called, hold on. It's vantage.rulepop.com. And without a doubt in my mind, this is the thing that you should be using. It's so great. Let me show you what it shows you. So I would go to storybooks. I would say that I'm taking a depart action on 739. It first asks you which direction you are going, and it doesn't reveal any information to you. Let's say I decided that I wanted to go north. I would tap on north on this thing, and then here comes the second spoiler. I'm not going to do like the spoiler for what is revealed from here, but the first thing that you reveal is how difficult it is to go. So this one is a north 4 swim. So if you had something that mitigated swim action specifically, then you could like mitigate that with the dice, whatever. You would roll 4 dice if you had to roll 4 dice if you had no way to mitigate. Swim north toward the jungle shoreline, and then I will not reveal what comes next to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. But that is true for all of these things. You don't know, before you decide which skill you want to trigger, how difficult that skill is going to be, and you don't know the results. And this browser thing keeps those pieces of information hidden from you until you have decided which thing you are locked into. So like if I decided that I wanted to boast here, I have no idea how difficult it is going to be to boast until I type it in and I'm locked in and I'm already going to take that boast action. Once I've chosen to take the boast action, I don't know what the result of the boast action is until I've already rolled, put my dice where they're going to go, taken any penalties that come from that, and then I click to reveal what the action does. These books, the way that it works in like a multiplayer game is that someone else reads the stuff to you in the books. In a solo game, you just have to like open the book to the page and then look at the skill that you have to do and not read the results of it. You got to like close your eyes and be like, I don't know what happens when I swim, but you're going to see it sometimes. So this app is ideal for me. Did I just break something? And now I am going to stop talking about teaching you. I'm going to stop doing any teaches kind of thing, and I'm going to talk about playing and my thoughts on this game, because I have so many thoughts about this game. I'm going to put this back over here. Something that's really cool. I don't know if this is going to come across based on what I've got right now. There are these little dividers that you can use to put where you are in the location deck, so that if you're in like a multiplayer game, you could have your little, I'm the blue player, I'm at location 364 right now, so I'm here, and then the red player, their divider is here. And so as you're like going through, this is a very helpful like quality of life thing. I super duper appreciate that they thought of this. Even in a solo game, sometimes you're like, the stuff gets moved around and you don't remember where you were, and you have to like flick through all of the things, and it can get a little annoying. But not with the dividers. It helps so good. What do I think about this game of Vantage? Okay, let me start with Breath of the Wild. I think that is the description, or the comparison that will be made most often about this game. And I think there is a lot of truth to that, and I absolutely love Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a Legend of Zelda game where you see something on the horizon and you go, I wonder if I can go over there, and if when I get there, it will be interesting. And the answer is always, you can 100% go over there, and it's awesome. Whatever that thing was, you were right to go over there. It's the coolest effing thing you've ever seen. This is like the board game version of that. Details in the artwork of, I see that thing over there. Can I go check that out? The game is like, yeah, you can go check that out. It's not, obviously, because of the medium that we are in here with board games, there are some video game exploration things that I'm used to that are, mechanized here, that can skew the experience a little bit. You see a communication tower, like a cell tower type thing in the distance. You go over to it, and then you have 6 possible actions that you can take to interact with it. You don't know exactly what the thing is that you are going to do when you take one of those actions, but you might know what you want to do. And I would say 70 to 80% of the time, you can parse the thing that you are going to affect in the world based on the verbiage of which action you are trying to take. But sometimes you're like, I want to disable this communication tower, and none of the words are disable, but one of them is like kind of sort of close, and then you do that thing and it gets you like kind of sort of close to what you were trying to do. But it is the nature of there being 6 prescribed things that you can do at a given location. It's not, and no board game ever could be, like, it's not D&D where you tell your DM exactly what you are trying to achieve and they tell you how easy or difficult it would be to do that, and then you attempt to do that thing. There are obviously, and this is not like a complaint, this is just like, when I started playing, I had bigger dreams for this, and pretty quickly you're like, okay, we're still like living in the reality of board games. This doesn't break open what is possible completely. So just like, that is a thing to be aware of. It doesn't change the fabric of reality for what board games are constrained to. That being said, something that I've heard people say about this game and is absolutely true and sounds almost like a backhanded compliment, but I don't mean it in that way. This game is so ridiculously ambitious, it's crazy. I mean, there are 1,700 cards in this game. 800 of them, just about, are locations, are places that you can go and interact with. That's, pardon my French, crazy. That is insane. And after that 800, the next 1,000-ish are items, are characters, are abilities, are other things that I can't spoil, are mini games without saying like what the mini games are. Wild. This is an exploration game. This is an escape room game sometimes, a puzzle. There can be combat. There can be romance. There is a ton going on, and it all really does fit within the framework. There are mini games that you'll bump into where you're like, this is a different thing than what I've been doing, but it still works and feels like it belongs in the world, and that is entirely remarkable. Now, let me talk about the nature of a board game. We kind of talked about the nature of a board game before, but I'm going to talk more about it because that is my main takeaway from Vantage, is my feelings about turning an exploration-based video game into a board game. Okay. I find it infinitely fascinating how I feel about this game, because when I play Skyrim, when I play Baldur's Gate, when I play any open world RPG, I don't immediately feel the end of it. It feels like it could be, and you're like, I know it's not infinite, but it feels like it could be infinite or near infinite, that you can put hundreds of hours into that thing and still discover new stuff. I felt, and I think this is from what I've seen of other people talking about this, I think this is a somewhat unusual take. People aren't feeling this, so like if this is something that worries you, go watch some other reviews as well, because I haven't seen people share this concern. Pretty quickly, I felt worried about retreading ground here on like multiple plays. In the course of my first play, without spoiling anything, I found myself falling into situations that I didn't feel like I should have been in on the first play, which was really cool and like nerve-wracking in a good way and scary, but made me feel like I was seeing things that I hadn't earned yet, and that if in a later play, when I felt like I had earned it, I would bump into stuff and be like, oh yeah, I've interacted with this in my first session accidentally, and that feels like it takes a little something away for me. There are 800 locations. I have not seen 800 locations. I have not seen probably close to 800 locations, but I want to say in my first 3 games, I mean, I probably saw 150, 200 locations maybe. And in those first 3 games, I saw the same locations sometimes. And I don't, because listen, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. This game encourages you to learn about the world and take what you have learned about the world into the next play. And I was able to do that, but at the expense of discovery. Because I would go, ooh, I'm going to this location. And then I would look at it and go, oh yeah, I've been here. Yeah. I know, like, the vibe. I know what's going on in this location. Like, there are some reveals that you can only reveal the one time. There was a puzzle that I solved, and I will brief aside. There was a puzzle that I solved in this game that I spent, I don't know, not like a crazy amount of time, but like 8 minutes just thinking about the puzzle and being like, I don't understand. I don't know what to do here. I can't figure this out. And then I did figure it out, like just using my brains. And when I figured it out, it was so infinitely exciting, and I felt so good, and I loved that moment of magic and realization. But I might hit that puzzle again, and if I do, I just go, ba 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 ba. That's the answer, alien who I'm talking to. And the alien is going to go, wow, you got that really fast. I'm going to go, yeah, I knew the answer. I knew the answer to the puzzle. I've not seen all the locations. I will continue to not see all the locations for a while. But there is a feeling that I got really quick of, I'm going to see all these locations within X amount of plays. And I don't, even though I've played Breath of the Wild and have now seen all the locations, it feels different. There's some different thing about it being a world that you can like move in a more literal sense. There's some indescribable about going left to location 726. This is right. Going left to location 726. There's something different about that than turning your character and walking to location 726. There is some indescribable thing lost there for me in the like exploration genre, which it's like impossible to not have that. Like, you can't walk in a board game, really. You could move your character from one thing to another if there was like a board in front of you, but that's also different. There's obviously, board games and video games are different. I'm not breaking any new ground here by saying those words, but I think I had like, I don't know, some hope that this would like solve it for me, exploration in board games, and it does cool stuff. It really does. I don't want to take away from the cool stuff that it does, but it feels not quite how I want exploration to feel. And also, additionally, I think it is very necessary to have some kind of life constraint, lifetime and morale all being your like different versions of like hit point tracks, kind of, sort of. It's important to have that because that then makes building your grid mean something. It makes slotting in the items and characters that you come across, it makes it mean something. But there is also just something arbitrary about, you've got a little grid built up, you've got a thing that works in a way, And then you get to a location and you're like, I'm really effing good at moving and at overpowering. And you go somewhere and you're like, I want to engage. I want to take the orange skill action here because I want to do that thing. And then it says engage 6. And you go, oh no. You roll 6 dice. It's a really, really bad roll. They're all things that would knock down your health and time and morale. And you have nowhere to slot them because you're not built around that. But you wanted to do that thing. And you lose like 2 of each. And it feels really bad. And then you go, okay, I guess like I can't really engage this game. Like until I work on that skill and make that better. In RPGs, you are better or worse at things, and it's okay. But it feels kind of bad here sometimes. I want to do this. I want to do this thing. I know that if I do any other action here, I can't come back and do this thing. I need to know, okay, this is location 42. Remember location 42, I gotta come back here when I can mitigate engage results. Okay, goodbye location 42, I hope I can find you again, and then you move on to somewhere else, and then 40 minutes later, you're like, I can engage now. Let me go back to location 42. And then you try so hard, and you've come so far, and in the end, it doesn't even matter. You try to go back to location 42, and you can't find it again. And I'm sure that you can find it again if you're better at this game than I am. But I think it was my second game, I built a character who was so freaking ridiculously good at navigating the open water. And I was navigating the open water and I was crushing it. And then I found a location that wasn't on the water. And I was like, I'm just going to go up here to this place and then I'll go back to the water. And I went up there to that place. And then like, I just could not for the life of me get back to the water. Things kept like I would interact with something and it would be like, you took an elevator down to this underground place. Now you're here. And I was like, why did I do that? I didn't know I was doing that. Now I'm underground. Okay. What's going on? Let me get back outside. And then I would get back outside and it's like, you're in the middle of the map on the land. Good luck getting back to the water. And you're like, what did I do? What did I do? And the elevator's like locked and you can't get back into it. And you're like, but I want to go back to the elevator and go back to the water. I'm sure that that's not always going to be the case. That is an anecdotal thing. Also that's not true. All of that, the elevator's BS. There were other things that happened. I'm lying a lot, but the water stuff was real. I just don't want to spoil you, I don't want to give anything away. I would also like to take a moment to discuss the victory conditions in this game. This little board says right here, in addition to a mission victory, which you do by completing the mission that you get at the start of the game, a destiny victory, which you get by discovering something in the world and it tells you like this is now your destiny, or an epic victory, completing both mission and destiny victories. You may define success through anything you pursue and achieve. That last sentence is very nice. And maybe there are people in the world who can define success through anything you pursue or achieve. But me personally, I define success as the board game told me that this is how I win, so that is how I win. And if I don't do that, then I don't win. I do appreciate that this game says that's not the only way to win. You can win by having a good time. That's not how it works in my brain. I have to do the thing that the board game says is win to win. And I found these things to be relatively difficult, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it was something that caused me frustration in my first couple of games. Because in my first couple of games, you're not sure if the things are difficult or if you're just bad. And I was bad, but then I learned the objectives are also difficult. And that makes you feel a little bit better about not completing them. For reference, I have yet to achieve an epic victory. I have only ever achieved a destiny victory. And in my last game, In my most recent game, the game had gone on for so long that after achieving my Destiny victory, the mission victory was like not wholly out of reach. Like I could have maybe figured it out. I could have figured out a way to do it. But after I did the Destiny objective, I was like, you know what? I'm good on this one. This one has taken so long to do that I'm going to call it here, and I'm going to feel accomplished because I did one of the things that the game says is a win. You should go into this game knowing that the games can be like really long, really long. My first game, I played through it in a single session, and it was probably like 2.5 hours. My next 2 games were both like I had to do them in multiple sessions. Like I played like 2 hours, and then I said, it's time for me to go to sleep. And I went to sleep in real life. And then the next day I played it more for like another 2 hours. And then I was like, I got to do something else with my day because I need to like go to work. And then I did that. And then I came back after and finished that one. And that was probably like 5 or 6 hours. And then the third one was the same, like 5 or 6 hours of game. And that's kind of crazy. And it's totally up to you. And that is something, I don't know why I'm touching these. I just like them. That is something that feels very, video game RPG, where it's like this world is very large and you can discover as much as you would like to discover in this finite session and then come back and like rejoin. But I think the difference there is that it's one story being told that you start over each time, as opposed to more of a campaign-based thing where you're picking up where you left off and stuff changes in the world because of what you've done. No, like in this one, once your session is done and you pack up the box again, the next time you play, you're starting over from scratch. The things that you did in the world don't affect the next play other than revealing information to you and like going into a space and being like, I know that there's a giant blank type of creature over there. Yeah. And so it's just kind of another thing to think about and to consider. The fact that like you can have these very long sessions that you feel the need to play over multiple days, but knowing that like at the end of it, it doesn't change the world. It doesn't affect change. And so you have to prepare yourself for a different type of feeling of accomplishment than you would get in an RPG video game. Because it's different. Like you don't have a quest log. Well, you don't have an ongoing quest log where you can be like, my first 3 hours in Vantage, I did this thing and completed this task. And then I can like go back to that town and talk to the guy who I did the thing for. And like, he's my buddy now because I found the Sword of Destiny. That you can't do that here. If you do well in one session, that doesn't affect the next session, which I previously gave as a positive, that it's not a campaign. And it is a positive that it's not a campaign. But there are things about a campaign that are positive. And there are things about a discrete session-based thing that is positive. There are trade-offs. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You can't. I want to say it may seem like all of these factors are like I'm generally kind of complaining. And I don't think that I am. It's just this game really, every single time that I play it, it really makes me think about board games. It makes me think about board games, and it makes me think a lot about this game's design. This game is freaking fascinating to me. And I think an achievement. I think this game is a monumental achievement, and I think I love it. I think I love it, but I don't know how much. I don't want to say I don't know how much I like it, because I also do like it, but there's just stuff about it that like is a little wonky in my brain, and it is a like calculation thing where I'm playing something, but I'm also thinking about how much me playing this game of it is potentially taking away from future games of it, which is not something that I'm used to really experiencing in board or video games. But I do kind of get that feeling of like, the more that I see today, the less I'll be able to discover in the future. And like, that is true with every single video game RPG. That's true with every single other board game RPG. That's true with everything. The more you see, the less you will be able to discover in the future. But something makes me really feel it here. And I don't want to discredit how enjoyable it has been to discover stuff. But I do want to stress that, like, I do get this feeling, and I wonder if you would get this feeling too, of like, someday, not too far in the future, I will know more of this stuff than I want to know. And there's almost 2,000 cards in this box. But you see a lot of cards. You see a lot of cards in a game. I don't know. It's crazy. I feel crazy playing this game because I don't quite grasp why it feels distinct from other RPGs when it's not. And it is. Like, this is its own thing. It's really cool what they've done. But it's also like, it's the same formula of, here's a giant thing and you can explore it. And so fast, I said, oh no, it's almost done. It's not almost done yet, but I feel like it is. I think I'm repeating myself now. So I'm gonna see if there's anything else that I want to talk about. Not every session is as good as every other session. Some of them, you build an engine that feels more satisfying. Sometimes I kind of address the, like, you do something and you didn't know that it was going to have the impact that it had, and it like kind of messes something up for you. That can happen. For the most part, the game does a really good job of like giving you clues to determine what effects your actions will have on the world. But sometimes you do something and you're like, had I known, and like I kind of should have known, like I could have been given a better clue to know, I really would not have done that, because now I'm kind of screwed. Yeah. There is also there's a little bit of this is something that can happen in the course of the game, where like if I lose one more morale, I'm effed. And if I lose time or health, it's totally fine. And then the dice are like, yeah, sorry, we're just going to roll stars all the time. And you look at your grid and you're like, I can mitigate hearts and I can mitigate time. And I just can't mitigate stars. Like, I've not bumped into a card that lets me mitigate stars. So I just lose. And that doesn't feel very good. And then you go, but it's not fun to lose. So like, I just won't lose. And then you're like, but if I don't lose, does that take away the weight of the game. Like, am I just in the future, am I still going to feel like I don't want to lose, so I'm not going to let myself lose? Or should I just like bite the bullet and lose now, knowing that like I sunk 2 hours into this thing and I just lost because like kind of oops, got unlucky. That's something that doesn't feel great. It's something that doesn't feel great. And the game, multiple points, is like, if it doesn't feel great, do something different. But then you're like, but if I do something different, then what's the point of it all? There's a lot to think about. Man. This is like my longest review ever, and I feel like I'm repeating myself now. This is basically a podcast episode here. But I've hardly spoiled anything. There's a book of Vantages. I'm not going to open this, but this book has, I did open it, but you didn't see it because you can't see. This book has like maps and other stuff in here. That's super cool. This is a book of secrets. Sometimes you'll come across a puzzle, and the answer to the puzzle will be in here, and you'll have to figure out the answer to the puzzle and like say what your answer is, and then you look in the book of secrets and you see if you were right. And that was the greatest thing that I've ever done in this game so far, is figure out the answer to a puzzle, and I felt so good, and it was amazing. It's the coolest thing that I've experienced in this game, with the exception of one friend that I made. I made a friend, and they were a cool thing. I liked that. So I'm going to end this review by giving you a score out of 10. And together, we will discover what that score is. What do I want to give this game? We're going to talk through it together. My immediate gut says 8. Immediate gut vibe says 8 for the good times that I've had, the ambition, the achievement, but some of the complaints that I have make me want to drop it more to a 7, because it's like this game could blaze a trail that is so much more than what came before. And I do think that that's maybe true, but you know what? I'm going to lock in an 8. I do think that like taking ideas from this game and making them better, I don't know how you're going to do it. Good luck. I don't have the answers. I just have my vague descriptions of the problems and the vibes that I have, that I feel in this game. Those problems don't take enough away from the wonder to reduce the score below an 8, I think. Randomness of dice sometimes is frustrating, but probably over the course of a game, it ends up being pretty fair. Like sometimes you get that roll that I had at the start of this where you're like, oh, nice. Okay, I don't have to worry about those. Sweet. Sometimes you get those. Sometimes you get like all stars, and hey, now you're an all-star, and you feel like you're going to lose, and it's bad news bears. And those, it's just, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you roll a Yahtzee, you know? Sometimes you roll a Yahtzee. I think an 8. I think an 8 for Vantage, for solo Vantage. I don't know how it feels to play with people. No idea. Haven't done it. Have you played this game yet? Are you interested in this game? Where do you come down on this? Also, future reviews will probably go back to the old way of reviewing, because like this is crazy, and I'm probably not really going to edit this much, and it's just going to be me talking for a really long time, and hopefully that's cool with you. If you hate it, I'm going to go back to the other review style for other games, but just like this one, I wanted to talk. I wanted to just talk and speak and talk and speak my mind, because I have lots of feelings. And I'll probably, I don't know, like in comments below this, I might be like, oh, I forgot this thing that I wanted to talk about, because there's probably other stuff that I want to talk about that, like, when I'm in the middle of playing a game of Vantage, I'll be like, I didn't say that. This is money. I haven't used a lot of money. I've used a little bit of money in Vantage. Some plays you use money more than others. Some you don't. Okay? Got it? Good. Yeah, I only spoiled like one thing. How crazy is that? Good for me. Yeah, you don't know what any of these cards are. Haha. You're gonna have to get the game to find out. I do recommend it. I do recommend giving it a shot. I actually have no idea what it costs. Looks like $75. $75? Yeah, man. I mean, that's That's really some impressive value, I think. And this is not, I could say that I hate it. I really could. I'm allowed to. I think $75 is a good value proposition for everything that you get in this game. My guess is that I will have, I don't know, 12 plays before I put it away for a while and then like forget stuff and then can come back to it. Because that's also something that I think I didn't mention, but is real. Like, if I were to start The Witcher 3 again, which I have over 300 hours in, if I were to play it again, I would have forgotten a lot of, like, big story stuff. No, I haven't forgotten. But the little stuff I have, and it would feel like discovery again. And I think that's true here too. My vibe is about 12-ish plays. You're going to have seen more cards than you haven't seen. And then maybe you just like put it away for a bit. And then you come back to it and you've forgotten a good amount of those. And it feels like discovery again. And I think 12 plays for $75 with the promise of more in the future, that sounds pretty good to me. Because consider, those 12 plays are probably like 4 hours each. Yeah, I think 50-ish hours of gameplay for $75, considering also that you can get 50 more hours after you have like lost some of it in your brain. That sounds pretty good in my mind. Yeah, I think it is. And then even like, I think it would be a different experience to like play it with someone. And even if they're going to places that I've seen before, how exciting that would be to see how they interact with things. See if they have the same moment with that puzzle that I had, where I'm watching them do it and they're like, I can't figure this thing out. And I'm like, I just give it a second. Like, I know you're going to get there. Yeah. It's something. It really is something. Something to even inspire all of the like conflicting things that I have about this game. Not a lot of games make me feel this much. Very impressive. Good work, Mr. Stonemaier and Stonemaier Games. So much artwork as well. The artists, holy crap. I think they're on the front of the box here. Valentina Felique, Soren Medding, and Emilian Roteval. Incredible work. Beautiful artwork on 2,000-ish cards. Pretty impressive stuff. That's going to do it for this review. Wow. What a game. What a game. I really want people to play it, and then I can talk to them about it. Yeah, I'm going to call it there. Board and Samers on Ko-Fi. You can support me over there if you want to give me money. I do videos every other week, and you can get your name in the credits, and you can get little blog posts. You can get videos early. You can get all kinds of good stuff. I have to write a blog post. Ooh, gotta get on that. All right. Very happy to have you here with me. Love you. Goodbye.